Does anyone still believe in paradise?
She goes by the name Brenda L. Thompson, but her adjectives are what are most interesting. Described as being passionate, resilient, and dedicated, she's a mother of three daughters, a grandmother, a political activist, and a singer songwriter. And she joins us this afternoon in the Jenleeion circle. And I'm so excited to talk to mother of Selena Johnson. How are you doing this afternoon, Miss Thompson?
Good, I'm good.
Well, it's fantastic. You sound good. How's the weather where you are?
Oh, it's beautiful here. Very beautiful.
That's fantastic. I'm assuming that you're currently in Illinois, or are you somewhere else?
Oh, I'm in Georgia.
Yeah, Joe. Yes, Georgia. That's awesome stuff. Well,
Yep.
one of the first things I wanted to discuss with you, especially given the current climate in our country, is in 2013 you were honored by the NAACP for being the first Black woman police commissioner. And I think that's a title that you assumed back in the 1980s.
That's
Um,
correct.
as a person who comes directly from the policing sphere, how do you personally feel when you see the reckoning that's happening in this country with police brutality, especially as it relates to minorities?
Well, what I think people are not really realizing when they talk about the federal government, the state government, these things are happening in the local government because
Mm,
each village, city, or municipality, or whatever you want to call it, the local villages set their own rules, their own laws. They go by whatever they want to do, and nobody really pays attention to the minority communities. Got 25 to 30,000 people in it, and they do it is bedded and rooted in those local villages and local elections.
yes.
And it's very sad because it's been going on for years and years and years, but it's just gotten so out of control. And it's very interesting to me that how our young people, the millennials, are paying attention to what's happening in politics because they
Yes.
really showed out at these George Floyd marches and Black Lives Matters. It was just amazing. But I think it's really, really bad because there's no such thing as that you got to wait for the Congress and the Senate to pass that are necessary because there are lives being lost and there are Black lives.
Yes.
I mean, this is the 1800s. I mean, come on. So I think it's something that should be done swiftly, and I really am very excited about the young people that are getting involved today.
Yeah, because it scares me because I'm 33, so I grew up in elementary school in the 1990s where we were reading about the horror stories of the 1940s and 50s and 60s, but now in 2021 you find yourself having to pinch yourself to say, you know, I feel like I'm living in my elementary school history books.
Yeah, well, I was part of that history because I was the little girl that went to the colored bathrooms and couldn't go here, couldn't do that. When we had high school, there was no, we weren't involved or included in anything. Matter of fact, where I live, we had to go freshman and sophomore year, and the black they had a that's the school we had to go to before we could even go to the big major high school. So I've lived through all of that, the racism, and still living through it.
Yeah, yeah. But one of the things I find interesting is that, again, one of your adjectives that people quite say about you all the time is that you're resilient. And obviously, like a lot of the people who lived through that era, that's a testament to your resiliency. And I truly believe that as a mother, and I can totally see that resiliency seems to be something you've passed on. What with, obviously your Grammy nominated R&B singer daughter and host of the Sister Circle, Selena Johnson. But you also have two daughters who became doctors. So that's yeah. So that spirit of resiliency, that's something that you definitely passed on to your girls.
Well, most important to me was that education.
Mm,
Education is a priority over anything career that you choose. If you don't have the education, anything can happen to you. You don't have anything to fall back on. That you always have, and they have given me that in tenfold, and I'm very proud.
Wow, that is fantastic. So, if you can tell me, what type of doctors did Salit and Celicia become?
Alicia is a doctorate in economics,
Wow.
and Celette is a doctorate in nursing. She's an entrepreneur. Alicia's an entrepreneur, and Celette teaches nursing, and she has her own business. And Celicia is just everything. She's the manager of Selena. She's a professor at Berkeley College. And Lena has a bachelor's in nutrition. And we already know she's an actress, a singer, a songwriter, a mother, a wife.
And my goodness, I know that you sit back as a mother and you should be able to say for yourself, wow, what a job well done.
Very proud, very proud.
Yeah. And so now you're on the sub generation from that as a grandmother. How have you found grandmotherhood? You know, it's interesting that I've met a lot of grandmothers who prefer to be called grand diva, who prefer to be called G instead of grandmother. I take it that with your resiliency and authenticity, you embrace it, right?
My grandbabies call me Ganny. I earned every bit of it.
Yes.
I had all girls, so it's really exciting. I have 5 grandsons. So I have all boys grandsons.
All girls and all boys grandsons. So you get to make up for it. You make up for not having the other side as a mother. Yeah, and I know that you spoiled them. But something that is interesting is that the music runs in the blood. Obviously, you were a singer in blues music with your ex-husband, Syl Johnson. Can you tell me about that? Tell me about that experience. And are you still singing?
Oh, no. But I tell you what, I was back in the day what they called the chitlin circuit.
Mm.
Travel all over the United States. I mean, I would travel with. I'm getting older, so let me make this right. Al Green,
Reverend Al Green.
We were in the Willie Mitchell studio. Tyrone Davis,
Wow.
Joe, all of the blues, Little Milton, B.B. King. I was out traveling on the road with them. We go to all the chilling circuits in the South and everywhere. It was amazing. I was very young, but it was really amazing.
Yeah, and the thing is, you weren't just doing background vocals. You also contributed a lot of writing to Syl Johnson's projects. So I take it you said you're not singing now, but that writing piece of it.
I wrote a lot of his songs, and we did an album together that it's called an anthropology, and it was over in Europe, and we did a duet together, and I wrote a lot of songs, and then I gave him a lot of melody. We used to work together.
Wow, I think that's fantastic. So, and with that, obviously, you pack the music away, and one of the things that I thought was amazing about your stories, it says that you're passionate about serious issues. Some of those issues being autism, some of it being heart disease prevention. Explain to me what that is. What does that mean for you to be passionate about autism and heart disease prevention?
Well, my grandson, Selena's son, is autistic, and he's the love of my life. And I mean, he is such a genius. So there's always an up and a down, but he's a genius. And my mother and father passed away with heart disease. So it runs. So I'm very passionate about those 2 things. Yes.
Yeah. So I'll come back to the heart disease in a moment, because that takes me to one of the ventures that you're looking at. But the other piece is pregnancy loss.
Yeah, my daughter.
And, yeah.
Her baby was born stillbirth. She's an angel mom. So there's a lot of things. My children, and I would say myself, we're very resilient. So Alicia has a book, Resilience Factor, and it's done very well. It's #1 on the Amazon with about cancer.
Yes.
So, and my daughter, Celeste, the nurse, it gives us all the information and things that we need, but we're very resilient women.
Yes.
And we take on issues, and I'm very political. So we take on issues and we deal with it from the beginning to the end.
And going back to what I prefaced a second ago was the heart disease prevention. Um, you're looking to start a catering business specifically called Mama Brenda, which will focus on nutritional Southern food. I want to dig a bit deeper into your belief in nutrition and how you think that will translate to a cuisine business for you. What's the biggest thing that you're hoping people wake up to?
Well, I do a lot of meal prep
Yeah.
for Alicia and Celeste. And we deal with salmon, broccoli, asparagus. I cook healthy meals and prep them for them. So I got into that because of Selena, because she's very much into the nutrition. So I figured I am really a soul food cooker. I'm really old school.
Yes.
The greens, the macaroni and cheese, the roast, the ham, all of that, that's what I do. But when they're teaching us, Lena and them were teaching me that these are some of the things that's healthy, you're getting older. So I decided to start doing the preps. And it works out real good.
Yeah. So, what are some of the nutritional tricks that you've realized nutritional spins, if you will, that you can put on Southern food to make it a bit more nutritious?
Oh, let me tell you something. I'm not going to tell you the secret.
Well, give me some teaser information, Miss Thompson.
And then you'll know what I know. So I just tell you that old school cooking, will make that nutrition food taste good, and it will not be fattening.
So you see, it's going to taste good, and then just know it's going to taste good, and it ain't going to kill you, right?
It's going to be healthy. And when you eat it, you won't say, well, I got to eat this. You'll enjoy it.
So, yeah, so it'll be nutritional, but it still might send you to sleep afterwards, right?
You're going to sleep.
You're going to sleep. Well, my goodness. I think that's excellent. I think that's excellent. And, with that being said, your passion behind autism and pregnancy loss and heart disease prevention, are you considering yourself an advocate and activist in those particular areas?
Well, with that, my family, I've done quite a bit of reading and looking into it. But I really, I kind of stand back because I don't know. I haven't gotten out there yet, but I'm looking forward to doing that when the right time comes.
Fantastic. But one of the things that you are ferocious in is the political activism and making sure that we wake up as a people, collectively in this country, but also as a Black race, right? And earlier you mentioned that you're happy that the millennials are getting involved. But for those millennials that aren't getting involved, I've joined the call, for them to get involved. But what would you say to those individuals who are just sitting it out and just watching the hashtag?
If you know better, you do better. That's first of all.
Mm.
Black people have to stop fighting each other, stop killing each other. And we have to step up and take all that time that you're doing, wasting and doing nothing, and put it together with if you come together as a whole, there is so much power in unity. And we have to learn that because they are learning at this last election that your power is your vote. Unfortunately, it's not the only power. Your power is uniting and getting things done. But your power is the vote. But if you don't vote, you shouldn't say nothing. That's wrong. I just think that we have so much work to do, and we are so powerful that we don't even know it ourselves. And I think if this was happening now, don't open your eyes, I don't know what will.
Yeah, and one of the things I always find amazing about society, where we talk about appropriation of Black culture, I find it amazing that a lot of the things that I'm so-called hated for are the very same things that behind closed doors that we're also praised for. So it's almost the you're hated. You hate it to be loved. You know what I mean? It's whether we talk about the music or we talk about the aesthetics or we talk about all of that type of stuff. It's the appropriation of it all, but yet the source of it is so deeply hated in this institutional racism. My goodness, what is the answer, in your opinion, of
First,
of destructing institutional racism?
I really don't care about what they hate. That means nothing to me because the hate is them. They hate themselves. Because
Mm,
how you gonna hate me? You don't know me.
that's
So
powerful.
my color. Well, let me tell you something. Stay out of the sun and stop trying to be my color. You don't you don't know me. You know nothing about me, but you fear me, and we think that we fear them. Hell no. I'm not concerned about what they think. It means nothing. But that karma is a terrible thing when it comes visit.
Yeah.
Care about them liking me or mine. As long as you don't mess with them, we good. But you hate yourself. That's why you don't like yourself, so you can't love anybody. The color is just an excuse for you are inferior to us.
Wow.
You put too much effort in trying to do things to us and prevent us from having something. Why?
And that takes me to we have a huge bullying campaign that we do here, and I've grown to know that bullying, being a bully or bullying is just an 8 letter word, but discrimination, that's bullying, racism, sexism, all of that stuff are forms of bullying. And so with that, we have this I Am Human Too campaign, that so one of the things, and because it's not that important, I usually save it. So you're talking to a man who's totally blind, right? I can't see you right now, right? And so the idea of I am human too, that if we could all appreciate one another, despite our differences, despite our colors, the world would somehow be a better place if we could finally get to that freedom of mind. How does the phrase I am human too speak to Miss Thompson?
Oh, it's major. It's major. And people that have handicaps, and I've learned this especially from my grandson who is autistic, the things that he can do with his mind and his brain are amazing. I mean, my grandson is just turned 10, but ever since he was 6 or 7, he could take Legos with 1,000 pieces and put it together in 30 minutes without, now he's looking at the picture, not reading, looking at the picture. So your
Wow.
handicaps are sometimes are what makes you resilient because you want to do more, you're gonna do more. And that gives you the power to do more. There's not a handicap, don't mean it has to handicap you.
Yeah, it's funny. My sister has always said to me, and it's funny because she would say it to me as if she wasn't talking to a blind person, but she would say to me, blind people are smart as hell. You know what I'm saying? You're talking to one, so thanks for the compliment.
Very true. I mean, it's just like human nature. Okay. Say the older I get, say I have to wear glasses, right?
Mhm.
Hearing. So if you lose one thing, something else gets better. And you have to use that and focus on that. Enhance what you have. Don't just give up. Enhance what you have and what you can do. You may not be able to play basketball, but you can be a hell of a baseball player. It doesn't matter as long as you don't give up. Just keep that resilience.
You know what? Since you said that, Miss Thompson, I'm gonna go out here and get a bat and a ball and see how many windows I can break.
Hey, if they do, they just it can be replaced.
I love it.
It's not like the end of the world.
I love it. I love it. Now, with your resiliency, I got to go back to how instrumental you were in helping the city of Harvey change for the better. Right? You were a pioneer in becoming that first female black police commissioner. You definitely changed things and paved the way for others in politics and in that area. I always say that some people search for greatness, but then other people have greatness thrust upon them and find that they wear it well. I think the latter is you, that is thrust upon you and you wore it well. So, what was the pressure in that moment of being the first Black woman female commissioner?
Oh my God. Oh, being a woman too? With all
Yes.
three? Oh my God. They tried to test me everywhere they could, like calling me late at night, 2 o'clock in the morning. Well, we going out on the rave. Well, they thought I was gonna tell, okay. No, I got up. I went on the raves with them. They called me at 2 in the morning and said there's a fire. I said, okay, be there. I was right there. It was a dead winter, ice froze. I was out there with them, right with them. You can't challenge me. It's not, I can do this. I went to the gun range, learned how to shoot too. But whatever you all did, so I had to think. I had to act like a man and think like a woman.
Hey, come on. Yes.
Yep. So it was all kind. I mean, the side eyes, the woman's theory in the meetings. We sit down, I'm sitting up here, and it's all these men, and they talking police stuff. But I had did my homework, so
Oh.
you just couldn't say anything to me. But I let you talk, and then I would put you in your place and go to the next, because that's how they. And I don't think they liked it, but after a while, they saw me out there doing the same thing. Only difference is that I believe when I did go out on those drug raids, my compassion as a woman and a mother kicked in.
Mm.
Children in these homes. So I would make sure once they got in and got things calm, that I made sure that those kids were taken care of or somebody was coming for them, because that's traumatic.
Yeah.
They were looking at me like, well, no, this is not just about the drugs. These are babies in here. So they need to be protected and out of this atmosphere, the surroundings. And I made sure that was installed, whether they did it when I left or not. That's what, you know.
And how much do you know how your daughters were able to handle mom being a police officer?
Well, I think two of them, Celeste and Leisha, were in college. Selena was still young, but I was gone a lot. But see, I had been a stay-at-home mom for years. I
Yeah.
was middle in Lena's career. We would travel, taking her to Memphis to Willie Mitchell Studios. We was in studios in the area a lot. It was always something going on in the house. There was music. People would come on holidays just to hear Lena, to be a concert. So after she got, I think she was around, I decided to go to work. And I started off as an administrator in the building and planning and economic development. And I was there and I said, I could do this. I could do this too. So my husband, Sil Johnson, went out and plastered the whole city with posters of me. And I won out of 14 people. So
Wow. So did you ever have fear in your job, or did your resilience keep you covered?
you know, my parents did not raise fearful children. My
Mm.
brother, my brother was an FBI agent. I have nephews that are FBI agents. We just didn't fear that. Whatever we were raised, if it's something you want to do,
Do
you have,
it.
yeah. There was no this is for men or this is for women. It was whatever you want to do. So I knew how to shoot just like they did. So bring it on.
Well, two more things that I'd like to discuss with you is, when did you know that your daughter was gifted, that Selena was gifted, and when you did discover that, did you know that she was destined for Hollywood?
Oh my God, Lena was singing at the age of 3.
Mm.
Would sing around the house. And then when she got a little older, she was in school singing, and they had her singing opera. And then Sil and I, when she cut her first album, I think she was like 13, 14. And we just kept it going. I knew she was amazing. Her and me sing around the house all the time in a group. But Lena I always knew she was going to be she's a gifted singer. And I being a mother, and I'm sure of the entertainers. It's very hurtful when people don't give your child their just due.
Yeah.
And you out there, but she's resilient. She stays in there. She's a hard worker, but she's an amazing. She's one of the best singers, I think. And
Yeah, I remember being introduced to her record. Guess what? In 2004, 2003, back when I was a teenager, and I'll tell you, Selena's the reason why that in every relationship I'm in, I make sure I pay the cost to be the. I definitely make sure that I do that. Well, this is May, and we are definitely celebrating mothers, and that's really important. So I want to give you the last word, right? It's difficult for everyone right now. Black mothers having to speak to their children about the state of society or what have you. Any encouragement you have for the parents who are raising what they call Generation Z, I'd like to give you the last word, Ms. Thompson.
I would like for all the mothers or families, fathers and mothers, pay attention to what your children are saying, because you never know what they could be hiding from you, don't want to say. Always ask questions, pay attention, and oh my God, pray for them every day, because it's rough out here. And I don't wake up, I don't move out of my room until I say my prayers for my children and grandchildren and for the world, because we're in desperate times, calls for desperate measures, but they definitely calls for prayer.
Wow, I don't move out of my room until I've said my prayers for my family and for this world. And that will be the quote that's highlighted for the post of this interview. Thank you so much for those powerful words. Passionate, resilient, and dedicated. My goodness, 5 minutes speaking with you, one finds that those adjectives are definitely true about you, Ms. Thompson. And again, I want to thank you so much for speaking with me this afternoon. This has been an enjoyable discussion.
Oh, yeah, I love the sound of your voice. It's a beautiful voice. And you have a blessed day.
Thank you. You as well. God bless you.
Does anyone still believe in paradise?